tonight could be the night. Australia face Fiji in the northeast, but here at the home of the Super League champions St Helens, the English are red-hot favourites against the Russians. And he's with the England captain on the right, Andy Farrell. The Russians' captain is Ian Rubin, Australian accent. England have won the toss. He is billed with the two captains.
Andy, quick question. What are you expecting from the Russians tonight?
To be a very tough opposition, you know, it's a test match after all, so, you know, we're just looking to get the 2 points and get our campaign started.
Thanks a lot. Best of luck to you. Let's bring in Ian Rubin, opposite number. Ian, it's a big night for your guys, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Certainly is. We're hoping to have a big performance, and we'll show it out there today. Thanks a lot.
Of 2000, we're live here on Sky Sports from Knowsley Road, and it's England against Russia. Russia, who made their World Cup debut on Sunday against Fiji, beaten 38 points to 12, but believe me, they were far from disgraced. And it looks as though that there are one or two Russian supporters inside at Knowsley Road tonight to cheer their team on, complete with the nation's flag. But it's the England team that the spotlight really is shining on tonight. They have won 3 times previously as England on this ground: Wales in 1951 and 1953 and 1978. They lost last time here, the first time rather they were here, 1939 against the French. Well, Russia, involved in the Emerging Nations competition 5 years ago, one win, 28-26 against the United States of all nations. That was at Warrington. One win from 3 games. Let's take a check the way the two sides line up. Beginning with the English, third favourites in many people's book for the world title. Wellens is the fullback, Price, Walker, Senior and Rogers, Farrell the skipper, and Deacon at halfback. And the forwards, Stevenson, Rowley, Fleary, Peacock, Hay and Sinfield. And the substitutes, Long, Spruce, Howard, Fielden, and the coach is John Keir. Now the Russians, they have Ilyasov at fullback, Mitrovanov, Dumelkine, Zeidler and Romanov the three-quarters, Olari and Gavrilin is the halfback. And the forwards, Ian Rubin, Lysenkov, Campbell, Sokolov, Findlay and Joel Rulis is at the back of the scrum. And the substitutes, Kalashkiny, Nechev, Zhiltsov and Postnikov, and the coach is Eugeny Klebanov. Well, the World Cup in many ways coming home. It was taken around the country in the opening weekend, places like Twickenham, of course, and Gloucester. Now back to the heartland where the heartbeat of rugby league exists. And it's St George, or is that St Bernard out on the middle with the cross of St George and the youngsters with the 2 flags of the 2 nations. So this Russian team, in many ways an unknown quantity. 7 of this squad were here in 1995 in the Emerging Nations tournament. 7 Australian-based players are bolstering the squad, including Ian Rubin, who played in the NRL Grand Final for Sydney Roosters and who has recovered from a fractured eye socket to play here. And there he is, the Russian captain. Out he comes. They know these players, they're on a hiding to nothing. First seeds of interest were sown in 1990. 3 teams from Moscow, Leningrad and Tiraspol, they came to England for intensive coaching. And the England team manager David Howe's waiting to bring the English into the Knowsley Road arena. Led by Andy Farrell, of course. Saturday was the first time England had failed to score a try in the World Cup. So England's last World Cup try was scored by Paul Newlove of St Helens these days in the 1995 final at Wembley. They put on a great show at Twickenham despite the defeat. Lots there to build on, and the St Helens crowd giving them a really warm welcome. Even though they were beaten, they are odds on to get to the quarterfinals. This one tonight, then they round up their opening round fixtures, their group fixtures at Headingley on Saturday against the Fijians. Great scene, Knowsley Road, one of the best surfaces in the game, despite all the rain that we have had over the past week or so. And now we have the formalities before the kick-off. First of all, the national anthems of the two nations. A great contingent of Russian supporters here at Knowsley Road to watch this team. Who would have thought it 5 years ago? Well, lots of those England players totally and completely focused on the job that lies ahead. The manager, though, and the coach, David Howes and John Keir, belting out Land of Hope and Glory. And for Andy Farrell and the England team, well, England really does expect a royal and regal show tonight. Match referee Bill Shrimpton from New Zealand. Steve-O, a tri-fest.
Well, one would expect it, but as I mentioned in the build-up, we expected that down at Wrexham. The Welsh side were expected to run the Cook Islands well and truly off their feet. It did not occur, and full credit to the lesser nation. They worked hard. It's going to be very difficult for Russia, of course. They will just try their best, but the skill and the speed of the English. And what a night for this fella, Francis Stevenson, along with Jamie Peacock and Darren Rogers making their debut.
And getting the first penalty, 12 seconds on the watch. And Sokolov, a judge to have interfered at the play of the ball, along also with Gavriline, the half-back. So penalty to England. And they're still running through the two teams on the loudspeakers here. Another driving run from Francis Stevenson. In the centre there, Dumalkin could have been penalised for the flop. Here now is Andy Farrell, and the ball was forward from Farrell. It found its way into the arms of Kevin Sinfield, but the referee said it was a forward pass.
Well spotted as well by the official. You can see there that Farrell just delayed the pass. He tried to create the momentum rule. John Keir, well, he must be pretty positive about tonight.
And really, he is on a hiding to nothing as well as his players, Steve-O.
Well, they all are, aren't they? They expect it to just run riot. And it's going to be interesting to see how Bill Shrimpton, the Kiwi referee, handles this. One of the biggest problems, of course, is that the Russians find it very difficult to come back to 10 metres.
And here now is the skipper, Ian Rubin. He plays for the Sydney City Roosters back home, winning his second cap for Russia tonight. He was born in Odessa on the Black Sea, and then he moved when he was very young to Australia, and that's where he has learned the trade. And just inside the 40-metre zone, the Russians in possession here with Bob Campbell from Redcliffe in Brisbane, one of the half a dozen or so Aussies who are in this side. Lysenkov was the dummy half, and that now is O'Larry, who will hoist the high kick. This is a little tester for Paul Wellens, but behind him was Leon Price, and Price was very capable under the high bombs throughout the course of Saturday evening's match at Twickenham.
And has continued where he left there on Saturday. That was another great take. He was in scintillating form, especially from diffusing the high kicks against the Australians. Interested to see the tactics there. Andre O'Larry making sure that it went over to that wing. Leon Price, I would have suspected that their coach, Klabanov, would have perhaps put pressure on the debutant, Darren Rogers.
That was slack play by the English, and they have conceded the ball to the Russians midway inside their own half of the field. And this now is Ziegler, Craig Ziegler from the Cairns club. He's so keen to play in the World Cup. He travelled from Cairns to Sydney for training and trials, and then left for the UK, all in the same day. The dummy half is Alexander Lysenko. But the ball put down. I must say that I watched the tape of the match at Barrow at the weekend, Steve-O, last night, and this really was a feature of their play. They really cannot hold on to the ball for a full set of 6.
Well, it is wet conditions out there, and it was a really hard pass from Lysenkov to the skipper, Ian Rubin. You could see it just ricocheted straight off the chest of the big fella.
At the moment, the Russians enjoying better of the possession in the opposition half. England having a struggle at the moment to get over the halfway line. They might make some ground here with Jamie Peacock, omitted from the Twickenham lineup, but on his England debut tonight. Another driving run from Francis Stevenson. Wakefield Trinity Wildcats last year, Wigan in the year 2001, but he's lost the ball, and the Russians have it back again. Well, I must say this is a scrappy opening by England.
Well, the second time they've coughed up the football early in the tackle count, but full credit to the Russians. They're really putting the shoulder into it. Some pretty heavy defence there.
It's with Aaron Findlay now. Another one of the Australian contingent. It's Lysenkov, who's gone into dummy half as normal, and he gets the ball away to O'Larry. This now is Campbell. 7 offloads against Fiji. England will have to watch that. He topped the Russian count. This is Rubin again, a good drive straight into the body of Paul Rowley, and Rubin had the shirt nearly dragged off him there. Now it's O'Larry again. He spins it wide and finds Rulis, and Rulis is all wrapped up by Farrell, and also in there very quickly was Kevin Sinfield.
Now let's see if they use the bomb towards Darren Rogers this time. No, it's right underneath the sticks.
And Wellens is after this, and he diffuses it behind his own line. So England will restart with a tap on the 20-metre mark. But Steve-O, England have yet to get going.
Well, 2 drop passes certainly doesn't help the cause, but good work from the fullback, Paul Wellens. He'll be happy to be playing in front of his home crowd, of course. There is rather amazing majority of the St. Helens crowd that were coming in. They were chanting, "Come on, the Ruskies."
John Keir, the England coach, will want to see his team score some tries here. They might make some ground here now with Farrell. Another forward pass ruled by Bill Shrimpton. Well, that's the second. Farrell threw the first, he collected the second, and he's not happy with it. Paul Rowley, is it? Well, how was that forward?
No, there's nothing wrong with that, that's for sure. Mr. Shrimpton's interpretation of the delayed pass. He certainly picked it up. That looks all right. No problems at all. Still, he's the man in charge, and maybe the English will have to start thinking to themselves to cut out this short, sharp pass on the level. Go back to 3 or 4 yards, give themselves a little bit more space.
Well, it's 0-0 here at Knowsley Road. Australia are 22-0 up against Fiji after 20 minutes. Ireland 6-0 up against Scotland. If Ireland win that, they are booked a place in the quarter-finals. Samoa are 4 up against the Maoris. That's also after 20 minutes. So keeping you right up to date with everything that's happening in the Lincoln Financial Group World Cup here tonight.
Well, silly play on the second rower, Petra Solikov there, really getting on with playing the football, wanted to just mix it with Walker, and in doing so has handed possession to the English boys.
Now then, the Australians with a 22-point lead against the Fijians. They have admittedly been playing 20 minutes. Here it's 6.5 minutes gone, and England still looking for the first point against the Russians. England will really want to send out the signal that they are up for the challenge of this World Cup here tonight.
Well, another expected to win, and expected to win quite easily, but
by a landslide. Deacon!
They've still got to put in the effort. They can't just waltz around this park.
Here now is Farrell, and Farrell trying to cut them up down the middle. Good tackling by Campbell. Rowley, oh, and a big blunder there from Paul Deacon. The Russians have it back.
No advantage. Well, that's the third knock-on, drop ball that we've seen from the English. It's quite a big night for everybody concerned. Players out there obviously want to impress their coach, John Keir, to cement a place for further down the competition. But as I mentioned, Eddie, they just can't expect to think that the Russians are just going to lay down and say, you know, there's a green light, run through me. The forwards are going to work, and they've got to play as a team, not individually.
Neat play from the Russians, and I must say, the longer that this scoreline stays at 0-0, it's 8 minutes now, they will grow in confidence. Sokolov is the man who was tackled there. Here's Rubin again for Russia. He's making good ground up the middle, and I tell you what, Ian Rubin is a man with plenty of experience underneath his belt, grand finalist, and England certainly are not completing their sets, mind you, neither are the Russians at the moment.
Good run though from the hooker, Lysenkov.
High kick from Rulis again, but that's far too deep.
I'll be disappointed with that. But the technique is there, and of course they obviously wanted to complete their set of 6, make sure that the kick is made up and then put the pressure on, but that's a second poor kick that they've produced. The first one was from Alari, that was not the best. And on that occasion, Rulis the loose forward.
Good tackling by Rulis there, and Rowley has got rid of the ball. He doesn't know that. He's found Andy Hay, and the Russians are giving England a real match here in the opening 9 minutes, and the big question, of course, is can they continue with this enthusiasm? It's a much and a vastly improved performance, let me tell you, from Sunday at Barrow against the Fijians. Farrell, and this now is Senior. Oh, and Senior tried to get the ball away from an impossible situation. Zeidler had him round the ankles, and Senior trying to keep the ball alive. They've got possession back up to the Russians again.
Well, got it back.
There's the big problem. Romanov got in with a hand to it. England have got the possession back. This now is Chev Walker of the Leeds Rhinos. Made his international debut and did well, apart from the fact that he conceded Wendell Saylor so much space for the opening try at Twickenham. Here now, though, is Jamie Peacock on the charge.
That's much better. That's what's needed.
First time in the danger zone, England.
Bit of enthusiasm to be shown out there.
Stevenson again, hands it on to Fleary. Back it goes. A little dab through by Deacon. They're all after this. Rogers and Sinfield. Well, take your pick. I think Sinfield will claim it. And the referee might just hand this on to the video ref.
I just want to have a look if the number 5 England was onside from that kick, mate, please.
Well, he wants to know whether Darren Rogers was onside from the kick, because he was certainly involved in the shake-up at the end.
Oh, they're all right. No one within Cooey. Neat little chip through from Paul Deacon. And you can see the inexperience there of the Russians. Not one of the 3 quarters had anticipated that. Sinfield for mine gets there first, and he does. This will be a try. Certainly appear to be downward pressure.
Yeah, Sinfield, the man who won the race, and he looks at the big screen as we all do. He's convinced. What say you, video ref? He's convinced as well. England have the lead, but I suppose it's been a long time coming. Certainly a lot longer than most people would have predicted.
Quick thinking, though, by the little halfback Paul Deacon. Neat offload. He could see that there was no one at home. Mitrofanov was not there. Sinfield and Rogers were, and it was Sinfield that won the race in the end. Long time coming, nervous moments for England. Virtually nothing to gain, but everything to lose. Well worked try, and well scored by the loose forward, Kevin Sinfield.
Yes, Kevin Sinfield, the man who won the race with Darren Rogers to the touchdown. And Andy Farrell has added the conversion, so Kevin Sinfield with the try and Andy Farrell with the boot. It's 6-0 to England here, and about 11 minutes of the match gone. Leon Price to run it back for the English now. Well, at last England have got their name on the try sheet as far as this year's World Cup is concerned. Record win, by the way, 73-6 against France at Gateshead in 1996. A lot of people say that that record is in danger tonight, but if the opening 11.5 minutes is anything to go by, the Russians won't be on the end of a scoreline like that without a big fight.
Well, they've done 4 tackles now. This is a moment where they should be starting to link. Deacon starts controlling. They've gone the blind, though.
Farrell has found a big hole. They're flooding into it. Farrell with the pass to Rowley. Rowley gets another. England are underway. Rowley with the try. No need to refer that one to the video ref. Paul Rowley gets the try. Well, they took 11 minutes to sort themselves out, and now they've got 2 tries in 2 minutes.
Well, 4 mistakes early in the game. Certainly didn't help them, but look at the step and the speed on this fella. Superb play, good support play like any hooker should do. He's having the time of his life, Paul Rowley. And a great game against the Australians. And that's wonderful positioning. Any youngster watching. Once the break goes out wide, the hooker should trail back on the inside, run down the middle, and that's what that fella did, Paul Rowley.
Yes, Halifax hooker in 2000, Huddersfield Giants hooker in 2001. Andy Farrell, the Wigan and England captain, makes no mistake. Plonks the ball over the top of the H. It's 12-0. 12-0 in about 12 minutes, and it took England 10 to settle down.
Good work. Opted for the blind side. He has all the skills, hasn't he? There really was nothing that Demal Keane could do about it. The big centre try scorer, Paul Rowley. And I can assure you that irrespective of who they play against, whether it's playing on the beach or in the backyard, hookers love nothing better than screaming in for a touchdown.
Well, a promising start by Russia, but it's all come to naught now, conceding those 2 quick tries. England now with their tails up. This is Darren Fleary. They have been involved in tours to France. They won 2 of the 3 on tour in South Africa, including a 22-19 international victory in Pretoria during their history, and their clubs have featured in the World Sevens, then the Emerging Nations, and indeed the Student World Cup. And 1 or 2 of these players in the all blue of the Russian Bears tonight played in that Students World Cup. But the game is evolving all the time, despite the political turmoil that happens in that part of the world from time to time. This is brilliant play from England, and Andy Hayes on a waltz. Andy Hayes on a waltz to the line. Right between the posts. The defence just melted away. And maybe now we can think about a record England score, because England are apparently now scoring at will.
Pretty poor defence. You can see there that they allowed the offload. Well picked up though. Excellent play. Back on the inside, Andy Hay, just a shimmy, half dummy, had all the speed. And it's basically just how you can make that first break. Once you make the break, it's always going to be the speed that'll take them through. Andy Hay straight in. And maybe for those people who I have often said, Eddie, over the years, that when they change back from side that has scored the try, they regain possession. There's a lot to be said for the rule that was changed 3 years ago and then switched back. I don't know why they switched back.
Yes, England really are on a roll. and Andy Farrell has kicked the goal. That means it's 18 points to 0. So they're scoring now at a rate of better than a point a minute, and they've run in 3 tries in 4 minutes, England. I must say, though, a decidedly shaky opening 10 minutes from England, but once they got to grips with things, they're scoring at will.
Well, they got down to basics, brass tacks, good running, especially from this fella Francis Stevenson. He's certainly put himself about. And if you can build with the forwards, and that really is what they are doing. It's only basic football, but that's all they need. They've just got to consolidate now, of England.
Darren Fleary. Good tackling by Bob Campbell. Rowley, the dummy half. Here's little Paul Deacon. He finds his captain Farrell, who flicks it onto Sinfield. That was a bit high from Rulis. The referee said that it was across the chest. Farrell has to get the kick in. He was under a bit of pressure there from Craig Seigler. Oh, and a real slide and a great run by Chev Walker. And Ilyasov, the fullback, was brave to pick that up.
Was he ever? As a big man. Chev Walker was really honing in. And there was an off-the-ball incident there. Paul Rowley, the English hooker, he took a real clout without even having the ball.
Good tackling by Keith Senior.
There's a high tackle that came from Rullis.
And it was across the chest, according to referee Mr. Shrimpton.
Try telling that to Mr. Sinfield.
Well, Greg McCallum, the tournament director, has issued an edict to the referees to watch for the high tackling. He was a little bit concerned about what he saw in the opening weekend. There are disciplinary procedures in place to handle players being placed on report, etc. England have lost possession again.
Well, there's no need to panic and try to keep the ball alive. They know they've got the fitness, they've got the guile, they've got the experience. And I don't think that Mr. John Keir, the coach, will be far too impressed with the amount of times they're trying to keep this ball alive.
Findlay in possession for the Russians, 21 metres away from the English line.
The English have to utilise this game as a build-up to make their set pieces, their set moves, and there's a chance here.
There is indeed. This is the winger Romanov, and his opposite number, Darren Rogers, was the man who hauled him down 10 metres short. It's now with Campbell again, and Campbell will dab the ball, but that looks a bit too strong. The moment it left the boot, that looked like he was heading for dead in goal, and indeed it was.
Well, it's not an option normally you see from a prop forward, and this is the reason why. But full credit to them. They are trying their best, and it's not easy to hold back an English side that sprinkled with some wonderful talent.
And there is one of the best young talents knocking around, Kevin Sinfield. Well, it was Harvey Howard. Harvey Howard's just come on.
I think he'll accept that.
Yes, he's not one of the best young talents. He's 30-odd, is Harvey Howard.
Well, I think he'll replay that a few times, Eddie.
Yeah, he's entitled to as well.
It was a bad mistake by Senior yet again, and it's must be of some concern. I mean, it's not as though that the Russian defenders are in there putting a lot of pressure on.
This is Lysenkov, the hooker, Alexander Lysenkov from Lokomotiv Moscow, the double winners in Russia in their club championship. This is Campbell, the man from North Queensland, from Redcliffe in Brisbane. Little dab over the top. And this now is Wellens. Great applause for Wellens from the home supporters here at St Helens. He'd been doing that all year in Super League 5. Oh, Senior drops the ball. Russia have it back.
We'll take the first knock on. Well, it's not the best night for the big fella, Keith Senior.
Second.
Opportunity there.
Best knock on, England.
Keeping the ball alive, Sinfield. To be fair, he had to jump for it, but he really should take that at this level.
Just go back, England. Go back, England, front row. Take it back. England, come up and go back. Go back.
Well, the English have made a change, as we saw. Harvey Howard has come on, and the Russians are anxious to make a change as well. They want to get Igor Jiltsov on. Great tackle by Wellens. All round Ian Rubin.
Rubin is a big fella, and Wellens Well, he certainly acquitted himself well when he came off the bench on Saturday.
Good tackle there on Dumalkin, and this now is the Russians in a little charge there from Sokolov. What would they give for a try here? Campbell, go nearly. They dropped the ball. Campbell flicked the ball out wide. It was dropped. Was it Mitrovanov who just couldn't take the pass in?
Well, it was a nice delayed pass as well. But the impact there from Price was sufficient for Mitrovanov to lose the football. Doesn't look impressed, does he, John Keir?
So the scrum put down 10 metres away from the England line. Deacon gets the possession. Farrell standing at standoff has lost it. The England captain has lost it. Well, they've had the little purple patch for 4 minutes, and England have slipped back again. This is Rubin. And it's all hands on deck now in defence for the English. There's Lysenko, the dummy half. Turns it inside. This is Findlay. Findlay to within 10 metres of the English line. Lysenko again. They're lined up down the left-hand side. It's with Gavrilin, and Gavrilin flicks it wide to Campbell. Campbell, good hands, but nowhere there for Mitranov, and he's being forced towards the sideline once again. Gets to his feet, plays it once more. That's Dumalkin at dummy half, and the charge comes in from Sokolov.
Playing well as the second row, Petrus Sokolov, and certainly putting himself around.
It's with Olari now. He's going to hoist the kick. Kick out wide, and Rodgers will collect that, and he collected it behind his own try line, diffuses the bomb. England to restart with a tap on the 20.
Well, just a touch too long, but yet a lot better than the previous two. Now is their defence going to handle the rampaging forwards.
Rampaging forward then was Darren Fleary. Great 4 minutes for England, running in 3 tries. And they're looking for more here with Andy Hay. Tackled by Lysenko.
Well, I'm sure John Keir will want the English boys to produce the set patterns.
Little dummy from Farrell.
Early in the game, because it's going to be difficult for John to sort of decipher what happens late in the game, because the Russians will run out of steam. So they've really got to put the set moves together early.
High kick, an angle kick as well from Deacon, but claimed very well by Mikhail Mitrovanov.
Under a lot of pressure, good work there. Certainly was not put off by the size of Leon Price. He's not the tallest winner. Winger should have said Mitrovanov. Oh, bad mistake.
Yeah, the mistake by Findlay.
Is
but England are offside.
Well, that's a let-off. Findlay, you could see quite clearly, having a good look there at Rowley and Andy Hay. But they were pretty quick out the blocks, weren't they? And so was Bill Shrimpton, the New Zealand referee.
Oh, and they haven't. Oh, yes, they have found touch. Darren Rodgers had a foot on the mud, and the touch judge quickly had the flag in the air.
It'll be scrum, but they'll still get possession.
His foot was on the line, so
the head and feet to the Russians. Big night, always is when you make your debut for your country. He was bitterly disappointed when he was left out in the first squad.
Yeah, he went on holiday to Mexico. This is Ilyasov, the fullback.
Bit of a shepherd there.
Tracked all the way though by Walker. Joel Rulis.
Oh, that should be a penalty, you can see there. And they've got the hand underneath.
Fielden on for Darren Fleary. Stuart Fielden, who had an impressive game against the Aussies at the weekend. This is his opposite number, Igor Zhiltsov. Plays it to Lysenko, and then inside it comes to Findlay. The England defence standing firm 10 metres from their own posts.
Well, the one thing that the English coach John Keir would have said to them, we don't want to try conceding.
Olari with a little dab into the in-goal area, and Leon Price is trapped in goal. The Russians have forced a drop out from the English.
Good work from the standoff, and the kick's only as good as the chase, as you can see there. the chase was pretty good. And again, they seem to feel that Leon Price is going to be susceptible for coming up with a mistake. And yet to put Darren Rogers on his debut under pressure as yet. Ooh, out of the way, Mr. Howard.
Here's Lysenkov, and he gets the ball away. And the big fellow is trapped, is Bob Campbell, by, first of all, Leon Price, and then by Jamie Peacock. Lysenkov again, gets it through to Gavriline. Gavriline tried to find his captain, Ruben, and instead, the only person he found was the England second row, Andy Hay.
Really well did Hay as well, through the dummy, put himself in between. Good positioning there, no chance that Ruben could have got that.
More scores coming in. Australia 42-4 up against the Fijians after just half an hour. Get the abacus out for that. And Ireland on their way to the quarterfinals, 10-0 up against the Scots after half an hour. And the New Zealand Maoris 4 up against Samoa, also after half an hour. That's a corrected scoreline for you, and there's a real battle going on in that particular match. But Ireland with a 10-0 lead against the Scots. If it stays like that, they can book their place in the quarter-final.
Well, there'll be play on. Well, there's got to be in a offside, so they'll play the knock-on. That'll be the turnover.
He's on the last, so Russia get it back on the turnover.
Well, they're trying to get it there. Good work from Joel Rulis, applying the pressure.
27 minutes gone, England 18-0 up here at Knowsley Road. Australians well in control of their match against Fiji. The Australians also then will book their place in the quarterfinals tonight. Labanov, the Russian coach, watching anxiously on, and as his team try and force something out wide, but the pass from Zhiltsov to Mitrovanov, it wasn't too clever, I'm afraid.
Well, that's interesting to see. He's getting through a lot of work as a prop forward, Campbell. But as a prop forward, is utilising himself more as a centre. You can see that it was a forward pass anyway from Zhiltsov.
It's an unusual night in the World Cup, this. It isn't raining. But let us not tempt fate. We don't want Steve-O to do a rain dance just yet. 28 minutes gone, 18-0 England. In possession, with Deacon at dummy half. That's Sinfield, and Sinfield saw a little gap between three defenders, went for it, but Findlay was in there quickly with Olari. Here now is Deacon. Deacon pops it back to Andy Hay, tries to push them aside. Senior to Rogers. Rogers will wheel round and now straighten it up, gives it then back to Deacon. On it goes then to Farrell. He dumps it over the top. Chances here for Fielden. Fielden maybe came the wrong way. They were lined up down the right-hand touchline waiting for that. Rowley again. And there's Farrell. Bullet pass. And that's Walker. Chev Walker. Great try, the youngster. Bullet pass from Farrell. Walker hit it at pace, and the defence was nowhere. Chev Walker, first try for his country. Debut against the Aussies at the weekend at 18 years and 19 days.
Good work from the skipper, Andy Farrell. Shouted for it on the blind side. See how he utilised Wellens as the dummy. Pass the ball right across the face of Wellens for Walker, who's got all the strength and the speed. What a baptism into international football for this fella. Not the greatest first-grade experience, but he really did exceptionally well against the Australians. Came of age, and he's certainly got a wonderful future as this fella.
Andy Farrell from bang in front of the post, makes no mistake, adds the extras. 24 points to 0. England well in control of the match, but a little bit like the curate's egg so far, good in patches.
Yep, but that is sheer speed and sheer class, the combination. Once Andy Farrell gets the opportunity to start controlling things out there, people like that fella, Chev Walker, will certainly benefit.
Chev Walker, not a regular yet in the Leeds first team. He recovered well after losing Saylor for that first try at Twickenham on Saturday, given another opportunity to impress here by John Keir. When he announced his side on Saturday, John Keir said it's about time these youngsters like Fielden there just playing the ball, and Walker and Price, about time they all were given their chance. And the young kids in the England game are really taking their chances with both hands. But he's not impressed with the way that England played the ball there. Mr. Shrimpton, he's ruled a knock on.
Picked up a little one there. Spotted it well.
No one down yet, no ball, guys. Hold.
Harvey Howard, the culprit, he shakes his head. He can't believe it. To be fair, from the replay, neither can I.
Okay, Siggins.
But he's the boss, is Mr. Shrimpton.
Gavriline feeds and gives it then to Romanov. Romanov looks for Ilyasev, his full-back. Ah, that's good defence. That's terrific defence from England.
No, he's called held. Well, I don't know how he's come up with that. He was still moving. And, well, he's the boss.
He shouted held, and he's...
should have been a penalty, we know that.
He's ruled play the ball. Well, oh, that's going to be a penalty. They didn't fancy that. Harvey Howard with a high challenge.
He's going to have a bit of a word to him as well. Well, to be fair, for the lesser nations, that we can do without, I'm afraid. And we've every right to agree with Greg McCallum, who's not been too impressed with the way that some of these officials have handled the opening games in this World Cup. But Mr. Shrimpton certainly called it.
No, it's not.
So it's a penalty, and I think the Russians are going to kick a goal here. They want to get their name on the score sheet, if they possibly can. And it's going to be Igor Zhiltsov.
I called hell.
I wonder if the coach, Klebanov, I wonder if he passed the information down from the sideline to kick for goal here. He's a left-footed kicker, is Igor Zhiltsov, achieving his ambition to play in this World Cup. And he's hooked it the wrong side of the posts. And he's disgusted with himself.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't the best effort. He seems to be able to smile. I don't think I would, wearing a hat like that, but...
I can see you in a hat like that, Steve. I think you would go well. Now what's Mr. Shrimpton given here? A penalty.
Offside at the kickoff.
At the kickoff. Well, surely, if they've taken one kick, they're going to surely take this, aren't they?
Have another shot.
They're going to have another shot at goal.
Well, they certainly were. In about 6 to select.
They have to stay behind the line till the ball is kicked.
Somewhat pedantic, I feel. We see that occur every game. But rules are rules, and sometimes they allowed it to be broken.
Mikhail Mitrovanov now with the goal-kicking responsibility, and he makes no mistake. And he gets a great cheer from the neutrals and also the partisan section of the crowd over there on the far side in the main stand. The Russians celebrating that penalty goal as if it was a try or the goal that won the World Cup itself.
We'll remember that for quite some time.
24 points to 2.
Mr. Mitrofanov. Mikhail, which they do tell me translates into my first name, Michael.
Yes.
You again, buddy.
Well, he could have actually pinged England for offside from the kickoff there.
Come back, guys, here, back.
If he's being pedantic about the penalty a few minutes ago, he could have given them another one. What does Pavel translate to, by the way? Because Kalashkini is on now.
Paul, any more you'd like to know?
Well, I said on Sunday you'd be doing your homework about this one, and it's obvious you have. This is Farrell. Now, that's a good tackle low down on Peacock. Bit of interference as he got back up to his feet. Here, now, is Fielden. Plays the ball to Rowley. Dabbed through by Deacon. Swept up by Ilyasov and forced back over the line, the fullback.
Neat
and
little
he's hurt
kick.
as well.
Neat little play by Paul Deacon. Does this throughout the season for Bradford. Oh, Fielden is about 3 metres offside. That should have been a penalty. Missed there by the referee, Bill Shrimpton. Fielden was loitering with intent.
And what's more, Ilyasov, the fullback from the Kazan Arrows team back home, he's hurt.
Brave effort. You can see there that Fielden, because he was in an offside position, could not or should not have encroached to 10 metres. Certainly did that. Running repairs for the Russians, who, to be fair, they've acquitted themselves quite well. This is a... Well, is at the side of the referee, Bill Shrimpton. Surely the New Zealander should have seen that. Deacon was about 7 metres further back that made the impact. Well, let's hope that Ilyasov is okay. No problems with his first name. It's pronounced Robert.
Well done, Steve-O. And he's got a bit of a problem, obviously, with knees in the back. Just on the left buttock, I think. And he's got a dead leg. It's not the best dropout, but it's not got bad length on it, to be fair.
Oh, it's a knock-on.
And Andy Farrell has knocked it on.
Well, I was just about to contradict you there, Eddie. I thought it was a decent dropout, because in slippy conditions, keep the ball on the floor, anything can happen, and that is what has happened.
It was a miss kick, but he got away with it. A big style, because Andy Farrell just come up with his third handling error. Gavriline gets the ball away, the substitute Netchev. Offside against England now.
They're going to have to be extremely disciplined, this English outfit. Mr. Shrimpton is going to be extremely hard on that. And to be fair, the English can afford to still take a step, or maybe even 2 metres back, to avoid giving away a penalty. 4-1, Russians' way.
Aaron Findlay plays the ball to Lysenkov. He gets it away to Gavriline. That looked a real forward pass to Postnikov. But England driving back.
And there you see the difference in class with the forwards not even getting across the advantage line. They're finding it very, very difficult. In fact, I've only seen Ian Rubin and Robert Campbell, the 2 prop forwards, do that for Russia yet. Though this guy keeps trying. Lysenkov, the hooker.
Kalashkini to Gavriline, good hands. This is Rulis, but well picked out by the English defence again. Francis Stevenson. Gavriline thought about flicking it back, gave it instead to Alari. He dabs it through, and again, just too much length on the kick. Well, it's interesting though, Steve-O, isn't it, to see these babes of the rugby league world, like the Russians, and we saw the Cook Islands on Sunday night. Fascinating stuff, and it's the sort of festival of rugby league that really should excite the English public.
Of course, it's a celebration to a hand in there. There should have been a penalty.
There is.
It is a celebration for the lesser nations, and it's a wonderful experience for them.
And of course we will see Lebanon tomorrow in their game against the Welsh. We're down at Llanelli.
I mean, it happens in all sports. World Cups in cricket, and of course in rugby union, where there are huge scores.
Not such a huge score here tonight. Not yet, anyway. This is Peacock. It's been one of the real finds of Super League 5, Jamie Peacock. On the international stage now, Deacon, his Bradford teammate, to the Wigan skipper Andy Farrell. Disappointed to lose the grand final to St Helens, of course. Sinfield, good offload to Senior, but a little bit ambitious maybe on second thoughts.
Well,
Senior, I'm afraid, dropped it.
He's always probing, isn't he, the loose forward Kevin Sinfield. I really feel that he's another one of the youngsters that will really develop throughout this competition. He's not frightened to have a go, as you can see there. Maybe just trying to force the pass a little bit too much. That's a bad mistake just before the half-time break. Little half-back, Igor Gavrilin, just took his eyes off the football. There's some big hits going on out there. See how he just had a little glimpse.
Yes, he was waiting for Fielden, wasn't he?
Hold here, hold here. Yeah, okay. Just take it, hold. Hold the weight.
So here comes the England skipper, Farrell, good tackled by Rulis, helped out also by Nechev. Now Peacock on the charge for England, to within 3 meters of the line. Just 15 seconds for the Russians to hold out to keep the scoreline as it is now at half-time, 24-2. Loose pass, Deacon Note over the top, Sinfield gets another. Right on the stroke of half-time, Sinfield's second try. Well, it was respectable a moment ago. Maybe they will turn around with a 28-point deficit to their name now, the Russians. Sinfield's try. Farrell's kicked the cut.
As I mentioned before, he is not frightened to try something. On this occasion, it was a neat dummy. He had the overlap, he knew it. There was 4 outside him, he didn't need them. You see him just throw the dummy. You'll see Craig Seigler come in. Look at that, 4 outside. But number 2 for Mr. Sinfield.
Here's Kevin Sinfield's second try of this World Cup tie. And Andy Farrell to add the extras. This will be the last kick of the match. 4 from 4, 5 from 5. Last kick of the match in this first half anyway. 30 points to 2, England turn round. Andy Farrell looks far from impressed. I wonder what his coach John Keir will say about it all. England are going to win this match, obviously. 30 points to 2, a gulf in class. But they have stuttered a little bit at times. They had that wonderful purple patch of 4 minutes where they ran in 3 tries. Then it just went off the boil a bit. We're live at Knowsley Road watching England against Russia. Whoever would have believed that this fixture could have been possible a few years ago. England are ahead by 30 points to 2. Sinfield with his 2 tries. And just trying to find the handling errors from England. That really has been the story of the match in the first half for me. 14 handling errors. They've only made 83 tackles, and the Russians having to work a little bit harder in that particular department. They've missed 16 tackles. And Kevin Sinfield's having a good night, top of the tackle count, and he's also running 2 tries. Well, I wonder what the England coach, John Keir, has made of it all. By his body language, I would say he's not particularly impressed. And there's 1 or 2 heads bowed as John Keir reads the riot act. Russia came here, of course, and they knew they were probably going to go home with a good beating for their pains and their trouble. But they will not turn it in. They will keep it going right the way through to the end of the 80 minutes. I think that Sean Long has emerged at the start of this second half. That will be music to the ears of the St Helens supporters who are here. And I think he's come on for Andy Farrell. And his first touch, he finds the touchline from the kickoff. The Russian second row, Sokolov, just couldn't get to it.
Straight between his legs. Not the start that they would have wanted. They'll be under pressure straight away, and surely England will create some set move piece right from the base of the scrum.
Well, Long gets a great cheer as he receives it. Wellens trying to get the ball away. Mitrovanov got a hand to it, but he will be brought back for the knock-on.
Well, he took a big gamble, didn't he?
My apologies, it's Romanov, not Mitrovanov. It's the other winger.
Romanov going for it. You can see there that Darren Rogers, for all the world, looked as though he was going to go in for his first international try. But surely John Keir will have had a quiet word with all his charges or his try.
Long, and Price had to claim it on the floor and did do, and got over out wide. But Long has come on and has sparked England immediately. His kick-off.
Can we just have a look at that last pass, please, mate? Can't? Okay.
Well, the referee, Bill Shrimpton, wanted to go for a forward pass. He can't do that, Bill.
Well, not in this part of the world, you can't. You can down under. Maybe that's where the confusion has arisen.
Well, to be fair, he was quickly corrected by his touch judge. Quick thinking there. Of course, as Eddie has just mentioned, in Australia, the NRL, they do actually go for that, but we mentioned the fact at half-time that it's been far too much individual work.
There's no way that that was a forward pass. The momentum rule, if anything else.
Not the best pass, though, from Sean Long, but it was well taken by Price. He did exceptionally well there. The presence of mind to nip into the corner.
And Long has sliced the conversion attempt. Way in front of the post, so it's 34-2.
Well, I was about to say that the English coach, Mr. Keir, would have said to them, let's get the ball moving out wide. There's a lot of gaps to be had there. What a start to his international career.
He's had a great season again for the Bradford Bulls, last year's Young Player of the Year. And they've signed Lee Gilmore, Bradford, just before this World Cup got underway, and he was the Young Player of the Year in 1998, Leon Price 1999, and Stuart Fielden in the year 2000. There is Stuart Fielden, the reigning Young Player of the Year. So they've got the three top youngsters from the past 3 years under their wing at Odsal now.
It just shows you that the junior development and the build-up, especially with the academy now, it certainly is reaping the rewards. And full credit to John Keir to, good run for the hooker.
Yes, Rowley attacking down the left-hand side. He's going round outside the winger, trying to anyway, tips it back inside. Oh, he stood on it, the Russian. Eventually, the substitute Netchev just grounded it in his own in goal. So England have forced the dropout.
Well, a real scrambling affair there. Victor Netchev. But good work from Paul Rowley. He's certainly taken his opportunity. He really has worked hard as Paul Rowley on his game.
Victor Netchev is the most capped and most experienced international involved in the Russian game. He's been involved in all the internationals of the past 9 years. This is his 10th cap tonight.
It's good.
Back come the English in the shape of Francis Stevenson again. 40 metres away from the Russian line. Plays the ball to Rowley. It was a good run from Rowley. Now then can Fielden put another good run in. Now 3 Russian defenders close in on him. Rowley, the dummy half. He gets it to Long. Long then back it goes to Peacock. Peacock driving to the line. Great try.
Well, I'm not so sure they got it down.
That's good, mate. That's good.
The referee's convinced. No need to refer it to the video ref, he says. And Jamie Peacock, omitted from the side at Twickenham, the boom player of Super League 5, comes up with his first international try.
Not bad on your debut too. I think from the replay, you might see, look at that, far too strong. Such a big man. Well, I'm not so sure that that ball got down. His feet dead in goal, is it? He should definitely have gone for the screen there, Mr. Shrimpton. But I am not convinced. I certainly wouldn't want to take it away from the youngster. He's certainly taken it, but good work from Mitrofanov, and well, I'm not convinced, Eddie.
Sean Long has missed with his second kick at goal. Ironic boos from the terraces here at Knowsley Road. They love him to death, though, in this particular part of the world. Sean Long. For the try scorer, Jamie Peacock. Big season for Bradford this year. Burst onto the scene in Super League 5 and demanded almost with his performances a place in this World Cup of the England coach John Keir, and he has obliged. 38-2. 5.5 minutes, second half gone. Long underneath the kickoff. Here comes Stevenson again.
Good solid run from the prop forward. See how he attracts 4 would-be tacklers, and then if the English can get a quick play of the ball, you can see that yet again 3 and 4 are having to stop the ball carrier. Not only does it tire the defence, but it also leaves an overlap out wide. And this is where the link should be utilised now.
Well, I'm sure John Keir would be looking for a big second half from the English, and they've had a big 6 minutes scoring 2 tries. Here is Rowley, good run, scampering run from dummy half from Rowley. Where's the support? There it is, Stevenson. Good tackle though on him by Sokolov.
Now will Long put a kick in?
No, he gives it to Deacon instead. Deacon will put the kick in out wide, looking for the big man. Rogers, well, he sailed above everybody else, but didn't manage to claim the football. A triple substitution by Russia.
Neat little kick though from Paul Deacon. Darren Rogers, quite a tall chap. The opportunity was there, it wasn't too long. Rogers just couldn't take it in.
Seven minutes of this second half gone. 5,000 to 1 outsiders for World Cup 2000, the Russians. And I think with Australia beating the Fijians and England claiming this victory today, and then having Fiji to play at Headingley on Saturday, I hope you haven't had a shilling on them. Long went for that, but the English have got the penalty because they encroached inside the 10-metre zone, the Russians.
Just in front of the kicker. And you can see that Andrei Domalkin put the shoulder to it. He was in an offside position. Well, really, England should be scoring a try at every set of 6 now.
Here's Stevenson. Now it's with Deacon. Twisted and turned his way into trouble there. I must say, having viewed that tape of the victory for Fijians against the Russians at the weekend, knock on by Price, he's given himself up. There's a lot more venom in this Russian tackling than there was at Barrow on Sunday.
They certainly lifted the effort. It has been a good effort from them. Bad mistake from Chev Walker. Not the best pass though.
I'll take it back, England. Take it back. England, go back.
It just goes to prove that if you give these youngsters the opportunity, it's the best way for them to learn.
Well, he said, didn't he, after Saturday, that he thought that Chev Walker and Leon Price gained 2 years' experience from the 80 minutes at Twickenham facing the Australians, and they would be better for that experience. Wonder what John said at half-time. We saw him sitting calmly, but was it calm? Bill?
No, Eddie, he was very, very disappointed with his team in the first 40 minutes with John Keir, and he let them know it at half-time. I think it's fair to say that he gave it to them pretty hard in the dressing rooms, and we've seen the evidence of that team talk in the way they've come out and said about the Russians in the second half. The message to the England side really was to get back to what they've been working at on the training ground in the last couple of days and really concentrate on what they do best, and they've managed to do that in the opening minutes of this game. I must say that the Russians are really pleased with their side. Ian Rubin does a lot of their team talking, communicating rather, in the dressing room, and they're really pleased with the way they've made it uncomfortable for England at least.
Yes, Evgeny Klebanov is their coach, but Ian Rubin in the tackle there, he's the man who obviously does a lot of the talking. Here goes Rogers.
And they've had to do a lot of tackling.
Actually, it was a pretty good chase on the kick downfield we saw there while Bill was giving us his report. This is Stevenson now.
Good kick again.
Rowley, he's having a field day from dummy half. A real field day, Rowley. Here is Leon Price. He's got the wrong studs in. Managed to get the ball away to Long though, and Long is collared by his opposite number, Gavriline. But England now just a metre or so away from the line. Ball is zoomed into the arms of Deacon, and Deacon out wide again looking for Rogers, but claimed instead by the Russian defender.
Good play from Nachev there.
He did well.
Well, it really surprised me that Paul Deacon went to the option of the kick yet again. They were really stretched out wide. It was a good take, with a lot of pressure indeed. Well, they can feel very proud of themselves. They've worked hard, including the skipper there, Ian Rubin, just playing the football. Some nice touches from Alexander Lysenkov, the hooker, as well.
51 minutes gone here. The Australians well in control against Fiji. 60 points to 8. 20 minutes of that match remaining. Ireland 12-6 up against Scotland. A battle royal going on at Tolka Park after an hour. And Samoa have edged ahead against the Maoris, 16-10. Well, that opens up the group but it would be curtains for Scotland, would it? I'm trying to work it out on the abacus here. Actually, Samoa beating New Zealand Maori would be a great result for Scotland.
Well, they were the dark horses. There's an English player down in back play. They're down to 12 now, is receiving treatment.
Fielden's lost it. Oh, Campbell lost it. Rowley's hacked it ahead. He said play on. Play on, Rowley, and Rowley comes up with the try, does he? Referee just has a little glance at his touch judge, and he's gone to the screen, and my immediate impression, or first impression should I say, was that there might have been a knock-on against England here, because it was Fielden, I think, who lost the ball, or it was knocked out of him.
Deliberately knocked down, so this will stand. You can see there Campbell trying to keep the ball alive, and it ricocheted away. Well, he's deserved this, Paul Rowley. He's never stopped trying. He's worked overtime, as he always does. Little doubt that it was deliberately knocked down, 1-on-1, so that's play on, and not the best pass there. You could not put much blame for Mikhail Mitrofanov.
Yeah, good one, mate.
Little bit TRY.
Video referee agrees with you. The Russians have come back to form the scrum for the knock-on. Paul Rowley gets the second try.
Big problems though, Eddie, for Leon Price. He's leaving the field now.
Yes, there he is down in back play as we watch the replay.
Good effort though from the hooker. And as Rowley was scampering away for the 4-pointer, Leon Price has been attended to, and it looks as though it could be a serious arm injury. Doesn't look well for the flying winger Price.
Well, Long hasn't kicked one yet, but this should be 1 out of 3. And it is. 44 points to 2. England in total control, just as the Aussies are up there at Gateshead against the Fijians. But a big problem here for England, Steve-O, if Price is badly hurt.
Yeah, not the best pass or attempt by Robert Campbell, the prop forward. Mitrofanov couldn't get to it. This fella could. Got a lucky bounce, but you make your luck in international rugby league football, and he has taken the opportunity well. Never say die attitude.
A long-awaited international chance for Paul Rowley. The likes of Cunningham, Lowe's, Newton and Jackson all vying for Great Britain spots, of course. The split of nations
That was a high shot from Ian Rubin, right on the youngster Francis Stevenson. And, well, he's appealing to the official Bill Shrimpton, but this is a bad one. We have to really take a look at this.
Keep them low, boys.
This is a bad one from Rubin. There's been a couple of incidents throughout this World Cup.
Fielden with the drive in then, and Sokolov had to be brave and stand up to him. Here now is Stevenson again, none the worse, and Leon Price is off. And that could be a real crisis for England. They are a little short of wingers. As Peacock drives in and offloads the pass, and the movement is kept going again. Fielden once more to within 8 metres of the Russian try line. Rowley is the dummy half. Charging forward is Spruce, looking for a try, the England substitute. Hauled back by the Russian defence.
Good work from the prop forward Campbell.
Rowley, looping pass to Deacon, bullet pass to Wellens, and then it comes back to Deacon. It's a play on. They've lost ground, England though. Long flick pass. Peacock is able to pick up. Big holes opened up for Peacock. No trouble. Well, you said that England, second try for Peacock, you said that England should be scoring in every set of 6, and just now they are.
Smile on the face of the youngster. He will remember that. It's irrespective of the opposition. That shirt that is adorning his upper torso, he will remember that for the rest of his life, and rightly so. It is a proud moment. They are struggling now, other Russians. All that hard work, especially in the first half, and they had to really defend for their life, is taking its toll. Keeping the ball alive. You saw there Sean Long, and there's a huge gap down the middle. It's nothing short of a procession from here on in now.
The 9th try for England, and Long adds the extras. They're at the half-century mark, 50 points to 2, and it is certainly now the biggest World Cup win that England are on course for. 48-2 against France in 1975, and 46 points, the widest margin last time round in 95 against the South Africans and Fiji. And John Keir, the England coach, well, he'll be a bit more satisfied, I think, with the way England have tackled this second half, but he won't be happy about Leon Price if it is a bad injury, and we've news on that now from Bill.
Well, it's not good news, Eddie, because the word reaching the England bench down here is it's suspected dislocated shoulder, the right shoulder. And isn't it ironic? I mean, Leon Price put his body on the line at Twickenham and really took a heck of a battering there in a game against, with all respect to the Russians, not quite such a fearsome contest. It looks as though maybe his World Cup could be over.
And a good job that Darren Rogers has been drafted into the squad, and what an opportunity now for the Castleford winger.
Well, it certainly opens it up for him if it is negative news in regards to Leon Price. It is a shame.
It's a tragedy for the youngster.
Most certainly is. Of course, he does have the option, of course, with Paul Wellens. Could drop back to full back, of course, and
Radlinski
maybe onto the wing.
Well, it was a plan, I think, that to watch Wendell Saylor on Saturday, and the plan had to be undone when Stuart Spruce went ill. There's a high bomb, though. It was chased, flicked back. Hay gets it away to Wellens. Oh, they're flicking it around all over the place, England now, and it's all coming up for them. And here is Rogers. Back it goes to Francis Stevenson. He will make a bit of ground up front.
Well, that was forward.
And the referee agrees, the whistle blows.
Good effort, though. That's the way to run onto the football. He's worked hard on his debut as young Francis Stevenson. He's not been shy to look for work, and that's something that John Keir, the coach, would be pleased with.
England on course then for their best World Cup win.
It's always difficult, though, Eddie, with a scoreline like that players then start to become individual. They want to go for the glory themselves, and I think that's the main reason why John Keir was disappointed at half-time. He wanted this game to perhaps gel the situation, especially in the half-backs and the combination around the scrum base, and so that they could build on something.
O'Larry's kick out wide, out on the full. Play will be brought back.
No pressure applied to him. Just a little bit too strong. I must say, the little chap, he hasn't got a bad boot. A couple of kicks in this half has really sailed down.
One coach, the Russian, is down stairs, the other one up top, John Keir. Watching as Long goes on one of those typical runs of his. He's going to score. Long's going to shoot in, saluting the crowd before he reached the line. Wonderful run from the base of the scrum from Sean Long. Something he did all the way through Super League 5. That's why he's the man of steel. That's why St Helens are league champions. Sean Long, the catalyst for St Helens, and who knows, maybe for England in this bid for the World Cup.
This is the reason why the English coach John Keir brought this man from the bench. Electrifying speed. But the most important factor about that is see how he came on the arc at full speed. Didn't take the ball standing still. See how he came from the blind side to the open. The halfback knew exactly what was happening. It is so important that when you take the ball at speed, that half little gap gets wider and he's through.
Sean Long, what a season he had for St Helens this year. 420 points, his first try in this match, the 10th England try. And Long cannot add the extras, though. So the try was scintillating, the kick not so. 54-2 now. England with the victory. A little bit like golf this, not a question of how, but how many.
See there, look at the blind side of the Russian. They've got 4, and he's come from that blind side. And you'll notice how his opposite couldn't match him. Andre O'Larry was caught napping on that blind side. But it really is a procession, as I mentioned before. What on earth John Keir will glean from this is somewhat difficult.
Yes, he'll be pleased with the margin of victory. It's a record World Cup score for England, and he'll be pleased with this fellow, I think, Francis Stevenson, who has run strongly all night. It'll be fascinating to see what his lineup is in the quarter-final.
Well, I think the combination, he wouldn't go far astray, would he, when you've got...
Penalty, England. Harvey Howard not playing the ball properly. Got to get to your feet, plonk the ball down, then play it, not do it from a horizontal position like that.
They lost control, didn't he?
Having said that, the Russians were
all
all
over him, yeah.
Are they going to kick for goal again? They are.
This guy, Harvey Howard, he certainly did a solid job against the Australians. And that is the big problem that England have at the moment, is that when Australia had the ball on Saturday, their forwards made at least 40, sometimes 50 metres upfield, so that when they came to the kicking game, they were putting England back in their own quarter. When we were trying to get the ball back, we very rarely reached the halfway line. So therefore, our kicks aren't as strong. It's a bit like chess these days.
Mitrovanov has added the penalty, 54-4. Well, they celebrate the penalty goal just like they would celebrate the match-winning try or kick. They ain't going to win this one. 54-4, that is for sure. England are already home and hosed, but it's a matter now of how many.
Ooh, that's a big hit. He doesn't miss him, Harvey Howard. And
Zhiltsov just looked at the referee and said, am I going to get the penalty for that? But it was just a big hit.
That was a 6:45 into Moscow, wasn't it?
You're going to tell me next you've been on the 6:45 into Moscow, I suppose?
Actually, I missed it. It was a 7:15. I'm afraid my timing can be pretty poor at times. Let's not get silly, boys.
Chef Walker won't take a backward step, will he? He might be the baby of this England side. And he doesn't shirk anything. That's for sure.
Well done, guys.
Sokolov, big smile on his face.
Just stay up, stay up.
Yet again.
When we're ready, yep.
They just lack the basics, don't they, the Russians? They try hard.
England back in possession once more. Stuart Spruce, Rogers, flicks it back long. I was going to say about Stuart Spruce, oh, that's a knock-on by Stevens. I was going to say of Stuart Spruce, he was desolate to have missed the match against Twickenham, against the Australians at Twickenham on Saturday. Taken ill during the night.
It's a hard decision, but to be fair, you have to feel he did the right thing. He didn't want to let the side down, and we've often said it in the past, Eddie, that the British teams often capitulate in the last quarter against the Australians, but I thought on Saturday they did a better job. Okay, instead of 60 minutes, we got to 70 minutes.
Yes, that's right.
Let's hope they can make it to the final, work hard, and be able to put the pressure on the Australians for the full 80.
Well, to get to the final, they have to do it a difficult route. The Russians have a penalty, flopping, I think, by Harvey Howard. They have to do a very difficult route. They have to play New Zealand in the semi-final, and indeed they might have to play Ireland or Scotland in the quarters. 09009 10 10 13. Man of the match. Vote now. You have to agree with the choice of Gary Schofield, our guest tonight, and Steve-O. And if you manage to do that, you're a better man than I, Gunga Din, but you will win yourself 2 World Cup final tickets for Old Trafford on November the 25th. Let's make that that afternoon at Old Trafford one to remember. The World Cup final of 2000. November the 25th is at Old Trafford this year.
Pretty solid defence. See the England sliding defence moving straight out. Far too quick for the Russians, who are finding it difficult to even launch any attack. You can see there that even though they passed the ball through 4 pairs of hands, they've actually lost ground.
Russian medical team administering running repairs to one of their men on the floor. So the 12 of Russia, it is Zhiltsov who's down. And a great kick, a high kick. Stuart Spruce is well underneath that, and he's away. Stuart Spruce He's taking them on out wide. Just waited. They're flooding in support. Spruce must pass. He does. Peacock. Peacock. Great tackle.
They've blown it. They'll score here, but
Lysenko with the challenge. Rowley, Stevenson. Doesn't matter as it turned out, but Spruce made the break. And Peacock just a little bit greedy, but it didn't matter in the end because Francis Stevenson gets over for the try in the end.
well, he won't mind. It's a try that he'll remember for a long, long time. He'll be very proud of that. Good work, though, from Spruce. Just chinked away. Kept his cool. I must say, Milasov did well on the push him out wide, back on the inside, but really, Peacock, they were screaming for it. And the crowd not impressed here. As I said, I knew they'd score. The Russians were extremely slow to get back. If you try telling that fella there, he will enjoy that. Put himself in a good position. Rowley, the provider. Good work. But I think the crowd said it all when they started booing young Peacock, who had two men on the inside, failed to pass.
Bang in front of the stick. Sean Long adds another. 60 now for England, 4 for the Russians. 60 points to 4. Francis Stevenson with the latest England try. If you're keeping score on the sheet at home, I fancy you're running out of paper now. 13 minutes remain, and I think Russia would be happy if the final siren came now. Little knock on there by Peacock. No, it went backwards, says the referee. Well, that mystifies the Russians. And frankly, from up here, it mystifies me.
It's very rare I agree with you, Eduardo, and left me bewildered.
Well, England not complaining. Try scorer removed, and Fielden comes on. Good play. Well, chance here now for England to really show their skill. Fling this ball around. Harvey Howard to drive it in again. Oh, Postnikov there should have been penalised for the flop, but it's on the last. Here's Deacon. Now it's with Long. Wide it goes to Chev Walker. Chev Walker dabbed it through, bounced off the Russian leg, picked up by Welland. Still the last, says the referee. Long, as he falls, he pops it up to Deacon. England trying to run the Russians ragged, trying to run them off their feet. High kick. Oh, he's dropped it behind his own line, though, fortunately for Mitrofanov, and he was facing his own try line anyway, and he just flicks it dead.
Sheer speculation from the kick from Paul Deacon. A little bit difficult for Mitrofanov.
I don't think Mr. Keir is terribly impressed, Steve, looking at that picture.
He's every right to be a little bit disappointed.
Very difficult, though, at 60 points to 4 for them to keep it going. I know he will want them to drive it in and rub the message home, but at 60 points, well, the match was won really in the 4 minutes of the first half.
Of course it was, and I underlined the fact that I said that it is difficult because they go into doing everything themselves rather than playing as a team. I think it was emphasised by the fact when Peacock made the break, and really, he should have passed on the inside. The crowd made him well aware of it, and I don't think the crowd will have to tell John Keir about it either.
Nechayev, the man who picked up the loose ball. What would the Russians give for a try? If they celebrate 2 penalty goals on the terraces, boy, they'd be getting the vodka out, wouldn't they, if they ran over a try in this match in the last 10?
Well, it'll bring about the biggest cheer of the night, that is for sure.
Leon Price's World Cup is over, Steve-O. It's confirmed, a dislocated shoulder.
That is extremely sad. It's such a good game against the Australians at Twickenham.
It leaves England with a problem on the wings. No Jason Robinson, of course. Nathan McAvoy out injured before the tournament got going. There maybe is a salvation, as you say. Wellens to play full-back. Radlinski to push forward onto the wing. Who knows?
Well, he acquitted himself well against the Australian attack.
Mind you, Having said that, you've also got Stuart Spruce out there, haven't we? He didn't make the Twickenham game, but he's played his part in this as a substitute. So is this fella. Long, skipping through, Deacon in support, underneath the sticks. That's 4, and it will soon become 6 more. Paul Deacon with the latest England try. But it's a cakewalk.
A lot better. Long from the dummy half. And that's the type of thing that we will have to do against New Zealand and Ireland, of course, if they make the quarters before we meet. That's providing we do beat Ireland, if it all pans out. Against New Zealand and Australia, we've got to really be quick around the play the ball area, and Long certainly can do that. Good support though from Deacon.
Yes, good try from Paul Deacon. Difference is England are getting acres of space in which to exploit tonight, and the space against the New Zealanders and the Australians isn't there.
Well, it's a different ball game, isn't it?
Completely and utterly, but this fellow has got every skill in the book. 66-4 now.
He's a confident player, and that is what we need. I'm not so sure that that fellow is a confident coach. It may have brought a smile to his face. The combination between Paul Deacon and Sean Long has certainly gelled in this second half. But it's hard to define against such an opposition that is getting very tight at the moment. They really had to work overtime in that first 40 minutes. We knew it would take its toll. But quite frankly, I think the Russians have done well.
Yes, they have. They've been enthusiastic. They've been effervescent at times. They've just been completely and totally outclassed, haven't they?
Well, apart from a sprinkling of the Australians, I mean, they really are amateurs, aren't they?
Should have just made a change. Just 7.5 minutes to go, and I bet the Russians wish now that it was over, done and dusted. They'd be happy to go off 66-4 losers, but it could get worse. Hay on the halfway line.
They're still trying hard, and
9 different try scorers, by the way, for England tonight. Harvey Howard, barnstorming run, Rowley's dropped it. But 9 different try scorers, that will do the confidence the power of good.
Well, I think that's the first mistake that Paul Rowley has made. He's had a fine match. Control things at the ruck and scampered away when need be.
Give him room, boys. Give him room. Okay. Bobby.
Well, some final scores coming in from elsewhere in the World Cup today. Australia 66, Fiji 8. Final score. Ireland 18, Scotland 6. Final score there for the Irish. And Samoa have beaten the Maoris. Well, it's wide open. That group is wide open. And that makes for a fascinating weekend here on Sky Sports in Dublin and Scotland this coming weekend, when we see the concluding matches in Group 4, the group of death.
They're big and powerful, and as I mentioned before, they thought that they would be dark horses.
Well, if I read that rightly, I think Ireland just about are confirmed in the quarter-final. They've had 2 wins out of 2. Scotland haven't won yet, but Samoa and the New Zealand Maoris have won 1 apiece. So Scotland can still sneak in.
On points difference, if they win.
Ireland, New Zealand, Maori, Saturday at 6 on Sky Sports 1. I wonder if Ireland will go all the way through unbeaten. And Scotland, Samoa, if results go kindly for Scotland 24 hours earlier, that one could be huge for the Scots and the Samoans. Fascinating stuff. Andy Hay on the inside. Ball hacked forward, and Long's going to score another. The referee waved play on.
Not so sure there wasn't a knock on there.
Steve, I'm going to have a look at that, but I don't believe there was any hand on it from England. So it's a play on.
Well,
mate.
the
ball
referee,
went back.
Bill Shrimpton,
Just
believes
have a
there
look at
wasn't a
but I
hand on
don't
it from
believe that
England,
he got a hand to
and
it.
he can't adjudicate on the forward pass, and it was dubious, this pass, to say the least.
Well, I think a hand got to it. Oh, definitely a hand. It's a knock on for mine. And maybe just to save further embarrassment, well, maybe that's an unkind word against the Russians, who have worked hard. It's Rowley.
Oh, I don't think he touched it, no.
Well, did he do it on the second time?
There was certainly a forward pass, but the poor old video ref can't adjudicate on that.
No, I think he may have just may have missed with the right hand, but did he just get it with a fingernail with the left?
Well, Paul Rowley might actually have cut his fingernails just before this match, and if that's the case, this will be a try. England get another. Second try of this second half for Sean Long, the man of steel. And Long now to add the extras to his own try. Ten metres out just to the left of the posts. 4 out of 7 second half as he's taken over from Andy Farrell. 5 out of 8. 72 points to 4 now. And we're in the last couple of minutes.
Keeping the ball alive. Well, it should be a really tight defence, which it is. At least they're getting their first line on the inside. Video referee adjudicating that Paul Rowley did not touch it. So it became a bonus for Sean Long. But this looks forward, but as Eddie has mentioned, that's going to go to the screen. For a forward pass.
Oh, he needed Rubin there. He was treading cement, wasn't he, the captain? Well, 72 points to 4, and with the Australians beating the Fijians, but England the best winners on the night tonight. That's something to crow about. We'll take crumbs.
Tackle ball, gone loose. We have a scrum.
He's worked tirelessly as the skipper, Ian Rubin. They knew, of course, that they were looking down the barrel of
Stay there on the line, stay on the line, Russia.
the big shotgun.
Forward, England, forward.
It's to show that that shotgun was cleaned out early in the game. So difficult for both the players and, of course, a coach like John Keir. I don't know whether he'll analyse it too much, really. Now then, can the Russians finish with something? Oh, it could be a chance.
It could be, and it's the centre, Zeigler, who is ruled offside by the referee.
Craig Zeigler, no doubt in the mind of Bill Shrimpton. He was in front. Let's see. Yes, he was.
Oh, I'm not so sure.
Only just, I feel. Oh, wait until, let's see where the ball... He's offside. Oh, man, that's a shame.
That's a poor call for the Russians, that. 2.5 minutes to go. Will England capitalise on that little bit of charity from Bill Shrimpton? Here is Peacock.
Well, they'll all be wanting to score a try now.
Oh, they're queuing up. Stevenson, Long, Deacon. He's gone. He's gone over, has the standoff half. Kevin Sinfield. A hat-trick of tries for young Sinfield. They were queuing up out wide, and the Russians are so tired now, they just couldn't keep Sinfield out.
Well, it was a poor call from the official, Bill Shrimpton. Said that the Russian was offside, and from the resulting play, and Sinfield had the speed, struggled with the ball, but also had the strength. This is a kick. And there it is. Yeah, he's onside. It's half a metre. Well, not the best call by the official.
Well, Sinfield won't be worrying. That's a hat-trick for him. 3 tries out of 14 that England have scored. And Long to try and make it 6 from 9. And he's just pushed it in front of the post. Every time he misses, he has a broad smile on his face. Sean Long.
He's that type of person, that type of player. It's wonderful to see someone enjoying his profession. And he's enjoying it too, why not? Hat-trick man. I still feel that this fella, Kevin Sinfield, has quite a lot of influence in this World Cup as it unfolds. There's so much talent, and he's brave enough to display that talent too. He's one of the top linchpin, should I say, for John Keir's side.
10 seconds to go, and England looking to finish with a flourish, but a great tackle on Keith Senior. And it's going to be hey lads hey for the last play of this match. High kick, hacked on. Referees pulled them back for offside against England inside the 10.
Well, they'll just tap it, go down for the tackle, and then that will be it. Well done to the Russians. They've worked hard throughout.
Quick tap. And that is the last tackle on Kaleshkiny in this match. 14 tries for England. Sean Long kicking well in the second half. Paul Rowley's had a fine match, the English hooker. It's a record win for England in the World Cup, and indeed a record win for England full stop overall. 76-4 betters the score of 73-6 against France at Gateshead in 1996, and Kevin Sinfield with the hat-trick. And St Bernard, or is it St George, just pats Sean Long on the back. We obviously say well done to England, but also well done to the Russians, the rookies of the World Cup this year. Indeed, they are the best winners of the night in the Lincoln Financial Group World Cup. Second phase of matches in this opening group stage, 76 points to 4. You can see all the try scorers there, and Farrell and Long with the goals. 76 points to 4. And the stats. Well, tackling the Russians, they tired in the end. Almost 200 tackles they made. England with 33 breaks and 23 offloads. Kevin Sinfield, he's had a great say in this match. A hat-trick of tries and 20 tackles. Top tackler for the English. And the man of the match was the man who made 6 clean breaks for England, Paul Rowley. He's the man of the match. He's talking to Bill.
Congratulations, man of the match. There's the Lincoln Financial Group award that goes with it. A convincing victory. Must be good to get that under your belt.
Yeah, we started the game very shaky. I mean, the ball was so greasy out there. Our communication was bad. I think our attitude were a bit sloppy going into the game, but we sorted ourselves out. Second half, went back to basics. And the good thing was, you know, they didn't score a try, and we had no misses in defence in the second half, so that's probably one pleasing thing.
Why do you think the start was so shaky? Is it because, I mean, it's with all respect to the Russians, it's not quite the same as playing Australia at Twickenham, is it?
Well, that's right, yeah, but, I mean, we set a goal to improve game by game, and I don't know, it's just one of those things. Put it down to the conditions, I don't know, but, you know, we're definitely not happy with our first half performance.
But happy to get 2 points under your belt anyway.
Well, definitely, it was a must-win, really. I mean, we lost, that's it. Goodbye to quarter-finals, so at least we've got the points, and we've got to play Fiji and then hopefully progress into the quarter-finals.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Kevin, how does it feel to get a hat-trick in an England shirt?
Oh, it's something I dreamt of as being a kid, and just to be out there really with some of the fellas that are playing in that dressing room. But obviously to score, and it's a dream come true for me.
Still get the feeling, though, that England aren't totally happy with that performance?
No, we're just trying to get better and better with every game, but obviously we're very sloppy tonight. The first half we've made a load of errors, second half was still quite similar. But at times we played some good rugby and put some stuff together, and there's a lot for us to work on. But I'm sure Saturday against Fiji will be a little bit better and we can work on from there.
What in particular do you think you've got to work on?
Just keeping hold of the ball really. We just kept dropping it, so obviously we're just trying to get our completion rate as high as possible so that when we play against some of the better sides, keep us in the game.
Well, you're on your way now anyway.
Yeah, we've got a first win under our belt, and hopefully we can back it up on Saturday.
Well, I thought we recovered a little in the second half, but the first half I thought we were going for the record number of errors in 40 minutes of rugby league. I think the first 7 times we had the ball, we got a penalty on the second tackles, 5 headers on the bounce, and then we scored the 7th time. So really, by that time in a game against quality opposition, you'd really be struggling. So we must learn from those errors. I'll take a bit of responsibility because we tried 1 or 2 things in that first half that we hadn't really worked upon as solidly as we had in Florida with our basic pattern. We went back to the basic pattern in the second half, and it worked much better. So, you know, but I was happy with the defence as well. I mean, we kept them trialless, but really we need to improve a lot after that.
Was there an element of not raising your game to the intensity you were looking for?
Yeah, I think that's a certainty. I mean, the young lads raised themselves because they were playing quality on Saturday, and I think the young lads thought they could come and have a cakewalk here today, but obviously the Russian boys were very proud for playing for the country, and they knocked us about a bit and forced into errors, and I think it's been another learning experience for the younger kids. But there again, there were some decent individual performances, but we realised we've a lot of work to do, and you know, a little kick up the backside, it doesn't do you any harm.
But the big blow is Leon Price's injury, which sounds serious. What's the news, John?
Yeah, he's got a dislocated shoulder, so I mean that's the thing that's taken any gloss. I mean, we did score 76 points with some good tries, but the most disappointing thing is Leon's injury, which is a dislocated shoulder. Also, Darren Fleary's got a dead leg, so but Darren will recover fairly quickly. But Leon, obviously, it's a massive blow for us, especially after how he looked so at home with the international rugby.
Is that the end of his World Cup?
Well, we can't say that at the minute. I wouldn't say that at this moment in time. What he's got to do is get it assessed within the next 24 hours. We might have to send for x-rays because it's the second time it's happened this season. So we've really got to look after the lad. That's the first priority. But obviously, if he was ruled out, it would be a massive loss for us.
But you get the feeling that the England camp aren't really overjoyed with that performance.
No, definitely not. I mean, you only need to look at the statistics for with very poor performance, especially in the first half. I think when I went off, we went better.
But at least you've got the 2 points. I mean, you've got your campaign underway, which is the important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we need to get 2 points. Obviously, it's only the first game that we've won in the competition, and we've got to back that up now against Fiji to get through to the next stage. So, you know, although we scored a lot of points, there's a lot to work on for Saturday.
What in particular do you think you've got to improve on?
Ball control is the main priority. You know, you can't win without the ball, and you know, in the first half we was trying to get off our line, and you know, it should be totally the opposite against Russia. But second half we went forward a lot more, completed a lot more sets, and it told in the end.
The lads must be very disappointed for Leon as well. It sounds as though his World Cup's over.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've knitted together very well over the last 3 weeks, and you know, a very close camp, and very disappointing that Leon might be out of the World Cup now, and you know, hopefully he can get the treatment he needs, and hopefully he'll be back.
Thanks, Andy. Well
Okay.
done. You're English. How do Russia feel about that result?
Результат тут не очень важен. Важно то, что мы первый раз встретились с английской сборной.
Well, according to his point of view, that the result is not so important. The most important thing that this is the first match between Russia and England.
Max, can you ask Peter whether this has been a big experience for the Russian side?
Это большой опыт для российских игроков. Как вы считаете?
Я считаю, что это слишком поздно случилось. Я жалею очень об этом, что слишком поздно случилось. Мне сейчас 30 лет, хотелось бы, чтобы это случилось немножко раньше. И большинство игроков думает так же.
Well, he said he is very pity that it took place when he is just now 30 years old. If it will be a little bit early, he'll be more happy about this time.
And how do the Russian side feel about facing Australia next?
А как вы, так сказать, сейчас чувствуете себя перед тем, как будете встречаться с Австралией?
А я себя сейчас никак не чувствую.
Just now I'm feeling nothing.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.